Things Gary does. So first, Anna's flight had been delayed. And then Anna's flight had been canceled. And now she has been sitting in the DC airport for what felt like days. She was about to go out of her mind, just staring out the window, looking at all the planes taking off one by one, but none of them were hers. She just wanted to get home. She'd have a wonderful vacation, but it's one of those times where it's just been long enough time away and you're just ready to be home. So she sat there, defeated, not wanting to sit there one moment longer, but she had nowhere else to go. All of the places had been closed and she had nothing to do but to just sit there. So she turns to her side and pulls out her purse and digs through, seeing if there's something that she can distract herself with, and she pulls an atlas out from her, not an atlas, but a map from her purse that she got while traveling around. She's very analog like that, and so she pulls out the map and just sort of spreads it out and just kind of looks around it and just sort of looks at it, not really looking at anything exactly, but just trying to distract herself. As she's still digging with the right hand, she pulls out a bag of peanuts that she got on her first flight. She's on a layover. And so she starts to open the peanuts and she's looking at the map, and she really doesn't like looking at the map. It just makes her think about the fact that she's not going anywhere right now. And she thinks to herself, I haven't done any origami lately. I haven't had any time. But now, all I have is time. So she starts to sort of fold the map. She's going off of some idea that she had. She hasn't folded origami in so long, she doesn't know exactly what she's making. She just remembers the pattern of how she's making it. So she's making it and she's folding, and it doesn't take her very long. She's very quick at it. And she finishes her piece and she looks at it, and it's this little flower. It's a nice little flower, and she likes it a lot. And she digs into the bag of peanuts and she pops one in her mouth. And when she crunches down on the peanut, suddenly, after a blink, she opens her eyes and she's in someplace else. She's looking around and she's startled and she has no idea what just happened. She's looking around and then she starts to recognize where she's at. And she's sitting on a bench in a park in Singapore. And she'd been to Singapore years and years before, but how the heck did she suddenly get here? She looks down at the piece of origami and she looks at the peanuts. She thinks. She pops another peanut in her mouth and chews, and nothing happens. Now, she would be quite content to stay in Singapore, but she'd been away for so long, and she really has no reason to be in Singapore, that she decides to try something else. And so she unfolds the flower. She starts folding another piece of origami, looking around her. And then what she pulls out is a bottle. It's a origami of a bottle. And so she pulls out another peanut, puts it in her mouth. And the second she crunches down, bam, she's in London. She's looking around and very excited. Very excited. It's a very exciting thing to realize what you're now doing. And so she's looking around, and as excited as she is to be in London, again, all she wants to do is go home and sleep. The thought of actually being somewhere else again was tiring. And so she unfolds a piece of the map again and looks at it. And she's trying to figure out what the correlation is between the shape and where she ends up. Now, she'd been in London before, and she'd had a good time partying there in her college years. So she sits there and thinks, what could she possibly do to get herself home? She's looking at the map until it dawns on her. She folds. It doesn't take her long at all this time. She finishes folding, and it's this wonderful, beautiful little cat. She pulls a peanut out, pops it in her mouth, crunches down, opens her eyes, and there she is at home, in her living room. TV in front of her that she doesn't want to watch anyway, but there it is. Her cat, sitting right next to her already, looking very bewildered as to how she suddenly appeared there. Anna picks up the cat, plops it in her lap, and all is well.
Things done.